Hello and welcome back to The Goodness Margin, the place where we find margin for the good things in life. Today, I am going to be sharing with you something that's very simple that you can do today that can make a huge difference in your kitchen. The kitchen is the hub of our home. It's where we spend so much time, but somehow over time, things can really clutter up. I think it's because we have things that we use and then we just leave them in the cabinets. We never take the time to be intentional about taking those things out. But first, if you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel, hit the bell, and you'll be notified when the next video goes live. Maybe you want to set a timer for 30 minutes or even just 20 minutes and go through this list. You can find this list and you can print it out at the blog post that is linked below in the notes. But go through this list and remove these things from your kitchen today, and you're going to find it's going to make a big difference. The first thing that you want to remove from your kitchen is refrigerator clutter. You may have a collection of magnets or things like that, or maybe you have someone's Christmas card clipped on the front of your refrigerator. That really can add to visual clutter in your kitchen. And we know, because we've heard it so many times and we've seen it scientifically proven, that visual clutter is mental clutter. Maybe you need a place to put some things. You could create a command center. Maybe it would be somewhere that's hidden, such as inside of a kitchen cabinet or inside of your pantry door. Or my kitchen, when you walk in, you don't see one of the sides of my refrigerator. And so on that side, I'll clip some things that I may need to have access to, maybe a chart that one of my kids needs or a recipe that I'm holding on to. You can clip those where it's not visually seen as soon as you walk into the kitchen. So take a few minutes and remove all of the visual clutter from your refrigerator. That's going to make a big difference. Number 2 are things that you have duplicates of in your kitchen. Sometimes we do need more than one of something. However, we probably don't need 6 frying pans. Maybe 2, 3 at the most would be all that we would need. And so go through and look at the things that you have duplicates of. Maybe you do need 2 spoons to stir things with as you're cooking, but you don't need 7, or you don't need 2 can openers. And typically, if we have more than one of something, we're going to grab our favorite one to get started with, and we're never going to grab the other one. Or maybe one of them was not working really well, and so we replaced it and we still have a duplicate. So go ahead and go through, see what you have duplicates of, and get rid of the duplicates. The third thing is fancy platters are delicate items that you don't use. I had these beautiful little measuring spoons, and they were ceramic, and I would not use them very often because I found that if I did use them and I sat them down quickly on my stone countertop, they would shatter into a lot of pieces, which is definitely not something you want if you're in the middle of baking. And so I found that I wasn't using them. So eventually I decided just to let them go because they weren't something that was being very useful to me. They were just too delicate to be used in the kitchen. And then we also had a lot of these fancy platters. Now I have some fancy bowls and cake plates and things like that I do like to use when I'm entertaining. But I had a lot of fancy platters. Most of them were still in the box, and I found that I just was not using them. So if you have something that maybe you don't even use for Christmas, that you're not using at all, go ahead and let that go. Number 4, if you have too many travel mugs or tumblers, somehow these things just sort of accumulate in your kitchen. My daughter will go to a birthday party and she'll get a cup with her name on it, and then she'll go somewhere else and they give away free mugs. And so we find ourselves with all of these extra things that we don't actually use. So from time to time I go through and I look and I find the ones that we do actually use, and I will keep the ones that we use. Number 5 is for our plastic or our glass food storage containers. We all have those things that we put leftovers in. But many times, especially if we've lived in our house for a long time, we'll find that we have the bottom, but then the top, we don't have the top to match, or we have a top and we don't have a bottom to match it. So quickly go through, make sure you have a lid and a bottom for all of those, and then let the rest of it go. When we moved in our house, I actually had so many mismatched food storage items, and I found this really great deal at Costco on a box of brand new ones that I just started from scratch because we had too many that did not have matches. And maybe that's something that you need to do. But that moves us immediately to the next category. And that's really anything in our kitchen that doesn't have a component that is necessary. Maybe you have one of those travel mugs that has a particular straw that goes with it, but you're missing a straw. Let that go. Or you have any other sort of food storage items that doesn't have a lid that matches, or a travel coffee mug that doesn't have a matching lid. Well, the only reason it makes it a usable travel coffee mug is if it has the lid. And so go through those items. If you're missing something to maybe a small appliance, let that item go because it's not going to be useful to you if you don't have all the pieces that make it work. Number 7, items that no longer fit the season that you're in. This is something that when I recently did a quick declutter of my kitchen, I came across several things that were plastic, like some forks and knives and some little plates. And while I kept just a few things, because I do have some young nieces that come and visit from time to time, on a pretty regular basis actually, so I kept some of those. But my daughter, she's 7.5 now, and she does not need those things on a regular basis. In fact, the only time she would need a sippy cup is if she's taking water up to her room at night, because I want her to have a lid on that if she's going to be grabbing it in the middle of the night. But other than that, she uses a regular cup, she uses regular forks, spoons, knives, plates, all of it. And so it's a season that I'm no longer in. I don't need all of those little toddler and baby things. I have let those go. Or maybe there was a time in your life that you were really into eating a certain way and you had a protein shake every morning, but you've stopped doing that. Let those items go that are no longer fitting the current season that's in your life. Make room for what is the current season of your life and the things that you need for that. Number 8 is a very simple category. It's just items that we don't use. I had at some point purchased a steamer. It was this really great little steamer. I think I'd even ordered it online because I felt like I was going to need it, and then I ended up not needing it. And I have found that my family, we don't even prefer steamed vegetables. We like them to be sauteed in a skillet. And I have never used the steamer. It's been up in a cabinet, out of the way. And so when I went through my kitchen this last time, I just pulled it out and I donated it. I'm sure that someone needs a steamer and they're gonna find it very useful. I mean, it's actually brand new. I've never used it. So there probably are items in your kitchen that you look at it, it's fully functional and may even be new and in the box. If you are not currently using it, let that item go. Number 9 is anything that's expired. Spices are something that really can fall into this category pretty quickly. Once you open a jar of spices, they go bad within 6 months. And typically spices can even go bad quicker than that according to how strong the spice is. So if you find that you're having to add a lot of the spice, if it's lost a lot of its flavor, go ahead and replace it with something fresh. But go through your canned goods. It really stinks if you are trying to prepare dinner and you go to grab something and realize that it expired a year ago. Go through your pantry, pull out all of the things that are expired, and that'll give you room for the new things that you purchase and also give you the ability to look and see what you actually have that is usable. And then last but not least, number 10 are the things on our countertops. Now, I love to have something pretty to look at on my countertops. It's not necessarily useful, but we don't want to clutter our countertops with all kinds of things that are useful or even not useful. I do keep my stand mixer on my countertop. I feel like it's just too heavy to pick up and put under the cabinet and then move it back and forth. It probably would end up causing some damage to a cabinet at some point. And I also use it on a really regular basis. But my other small appliances, I keep them in a cabinet and just pull them out as I need it. I find that having clear countertops is a huge way to go to take away that visual clutter, to make your kitchen look clean. Now I walk in my kitchen, I know that if something is just randomly sitting on the countertop, it absolutely does not belong and I need to put it in the home that it belongs in. A while back, I recorded a video on how to organize your kitchen in a way that makes sense for the flow of your kitchen. And I'll link that video here and you can view that next. I hope that you find this list of 10 things really useful and you'll take the time maybe today to quickly go through your kitchen and to give yourself margin in your kitchen for the things that you do need, the things that you actually use.